Hello, everyone. My name is Julian Theodore Ickham. Uh, I had an incident today, so it made me want to put forward my view of what is going on. Before we go and understand what's happening internationally in the Socialist Republic of Ireland and other places, well, it's not a republic. It's not socialist. It's occupied six counties. With what's happening with Colleen Georgescu and with what's happening in Kitchener Waterloo, we must first define our terms. What is a republic? A republic is a place where the people are the decision makers. What are the people? The people are those who till the land and those who are produce the wealth of society. Who are the boyar or the landlord class? They are the exploiters who, with their flesh and bones, they build, with our flesh and bones, build their homes. Who are the high dukes, the rebels, the resistors, the true Republicans, those who refuse to be exploited? Now, at this point in time, there is a war in Ukraine. Now, we must understand the history of Ukraine. Ukraine has always been a stronghold of fascism. And while groups such as Amnesty International will say nothing about people like Marion Price, Martin Corey, Colin Duffy, or whatever, you know, they will, to the detriment of the genuine queer community of Ukraine, desecrate historical sites to turn the people against queer people. We have to realize Ukraine was an autonomous republic, which includes people who are Moldovan, people who are Jewish, people who are Roma, and even according to Zelensky himself, 20% of the people in the in the Ukrainian army are fascistic or hold the ideas of National Socialism. What is National Socialism? National Socialism is an ideology popularized by Adolf Hitler and upheld by Bandera, which states quite clearly the fact that one race is superior and has the right to build itself on the backs of others. Under Joseph Stalin in Ukraine, there were 108 schools that spoke Moldovan. Today, there are none, and those who practice the Orthodox religion, which is practiced by the Russian minority, the Romanian minority, the Cincy minority, the Roma minority, and other minorities, are severely discriminated against the UN Charter of Human Rights and Democracy. Now, what is occupation? According to George Jean Paul Sartre, occupation is genocide because either the people who are occupied have to be destroyed or assimilated, both of which, according to the UN definition on Treaty on Genocide, is what is happening in Ireland. It occupies six counties. So there is no peace in Ireland. What we have is a normalization of occupation. So it's normal to see armored cars and tanks and guns taking people away in the middle of the night. It's normal to be arrested on the word of informant or on trial. Now, in Kitchener, due to the battles of many people, they have opened a safe consumption site. We are having a epidemic, a drug epidemic of such proportions that we're having 10 to 12 overdoses a day. People are finding things such as xylazine, which is not fit for human consumption and causes scars, and this sort of thing. And their UN report on human rights came and investigated Kitchener, and there was a Supreme Court decision which upheld the right to people to housing and found Kitchener in contravention to that. There was an investigation done. Now, the objective, and that created a safe consumption site where people could test their drugs, people could open up what their problems are, come up with a way of solving it, dealing with things rationally. You know, we were talking earlier about a republic. What is a republic? Not just ownership of the lands by the people, but where the laws are written by reason, not landlords, boyars, kings, or priests, or other hula bula magicians. So this all seems to be very, very positive. This seems to be progressive. But the reality of the situation is we live in a world that is turned upside down, whereas good is bad and bad is good. The people of Romania do not want a war in the Ukraine. They do not want to send their children. See, Romania is made up of Transylvania, Vlachia, and Moldova. You also have the Republic of Moldova, and you also have Moldova and the Ukraine. National Socialism is the idea of one race being superior to another, and the idea of breathing space, that they have the right to the land. Transnistria, which used to be a concentration camp back in the day, run by the Banderistas, who are fascists, is an independent republic made up of the victims of the concentration camps, which are Moldovians, which share the same language, history, culture as Romanians, and are for all part Romanians, Russians, Jews, communists, and whoever else the Banderistas did not like. Now, here in Canada, people are so stupid that they cheered a Waffen SS member in Parliament. You can look this up yourself. Then Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau said, "These are the people who fought against the Nazis," not knowing that it was the 20 million Soviets that defeated the Nazis. So you have to realize Canada is bread and circuses. You have people living on the streets and starving to death. And now, with the idea of information and misinformation, a lot of misinformation is done and people are fighting together. So, what do we have? We have the objective conditions for change to happen. Now, what is, no, we have this, yeah. Now, the subjective conditions is what is missing. And what is causing the subjective conditions to be in place? Lack of proper leadership. For a revolution to happen, and we live right now in a time of international upheaval, you need three things. You need a mass movement, which is made up of all sectors of the oppressed, led by the working class. You have a united front, which is a group of everyone who is being persecuted, no matter what they are. And you have a revolutionary party. The American Revolution had this, the French Revolution had this, others had this. What is stopping this? Misinformation and infighting. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that uh, the means of communication is controlled by those in power, and there are internal divisions that are set on fire by those in power. Those of you in prison in Ireland who are Republicans, you are being divided by a state that wants you divided on past things. That has to be put aside. The primary enemy is the state. And to create these organizations, it's not done through terror, but through persuasion. In my esteemed opinion, Francis Mackey has the correct idea. In one of the problems we have in Kitchener is, I mentioned earlier a problem. I suffer from left ventricle hypertrophy. Uh, it's a long and boring thing. Basically, I've been on the run from this from this Serbian who is called Russian, and basically he has a kid, the poor guy, and his kid may have made some stupid mistake. So they're holding it over his head and giving him blanket immunity. What does blanket immunity mean? That they will do what the state tells them to do, and he can do whatever the hell he wants to do as long as he does what they want. Now, two things that are important is this tent city and the fight. And so he is going and causing all sorts of problems there on the behest of the state. Another thing is he is attacking me because I work for the Lived Expertise Working Group, which is part of City Hall, which looks at the problems within the city and what is going on. So, as a result of this attack, I had a heart attack and a concussion because I happened to happen on the stairs. That's my bad luck. So if I start slurring or whatever, that's why. But anyways, I don't hold this guy responsible. I was one of the victims of the G20. During COVID, I lost my mom during that. During COVID, people under me died. I have seen so many people die. Last week, before I went on the run, I found out that one of my kids who doesn't know, anyways, a bunch of people I care about died. I am sick of seeing people died. When I was in Ireland at one point in time, we were talking about the Portuguese model, and we were able to push this in Kitchener. Now we have a conservative premier, and they're using their power to push to shut down the safe consumption site where people with drug problems can go and talk to doctors and get prescribed and that it could be dealt with. This is that just shut down. Well, we're not accepting that. We're fighting back. There's also this tent city. As a result of this closure and whatever, people are dying. 10 to 11 overdoses a day. One of the people that I really admire is the honorable, whatever the fuck you call that shit. Anyways, the city councillor of Derry, not London Derry, Gary Donnelly. Himself, like me, refuses to take a seat in parliament or in provincial parliament or any of the institutions of colonialism. But it is possible to have influence from city council. If this video gets to Gary Donnelly, I would suggest Gary Donnelly to talk to whoever it is in the planning department named Steven or some shit in charge of the Loog to create a place because these informers are victims. We learned that during the G20. I'm not talking about the pigs. The pigs deserve to go fuck themselves. And people, it's important that we unify and not let divisions get in between us. The Loog is an important thing. Colleen Georgescu, I feel, is a genuine candidate. We have heard from like the Clinton faction of the capitalist class about Russian intervention, Russian intervention, Russian intervention. I feel that this excuse is so played that no one believes it anymore. The fact that they can remove someone such as Colleen Georgescu shows that the European Union is willing to murder, freeze to death the people of Ireland, the people of Transnistria, of the Republic of Moldova, of Romania, etc., etc., etc. They're talking about going to Africa to steal raw resources for solar panels. Well, it's the people of Africa that suffer. They're talking about blowing up the dams of Romania so people can freeze the people. Kinamuswamin amurit kanafakut kanalu. Why don't they blow up the dams of fucking Germany? You know, after all, it was the German Nazis that started all this problem to begin with in all places. So whoever's listening to this, support Colleen Georgescu, up the raw, Ireland, unify yourself. Francis Mackey has the right idea. All people get together. Put all divisions aside. Karen Taylor Harrison, if you see this video, how young was I when I wrote that article? I was in what, grade 8? And you were all upset and went to the Global Community Center. Wasn't it you who told Davin Charney, wouldn't it have been better if we would have worked together? Well, I will never work with someone at that age when there was a war on drugs, which was really a war on black people, which is the point of my article. It wasn't against you. But given the situation we are in now, I am willing to work with you and I have a plan to save our neighborhood. If this video gets to you, let's talk. Gary Donnelly, you know I'm an honest person. Get a hold of me through City Hall. Let's twin Derry with Kitchener. Lord Kitchener was a pedophile who set up concentration camps. Fuck him. It's the irony that they have a statue of Queen Victoria who started the Opium Wars in Victoria Park. It shouldn't be called Victoria Park. This is It should be called Willow Creek Park. So, everyone, let's put our differences aside, come together, and discuss a way forward because we are on the brink, and either we win or the fascists win. Either way, millions of people would die. Would you rather die frozen to death, humiliated, humbled in the streets, or would you rather die on your feet? I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Thank you very much.